So talking about pay periods might not hit as well on the 5th because people just got paid. So on the 12th, it'll probably be better. But I think on the 5th, you could touch on a different aspect of the business. You can touch on the community aspect. You can touch on the fact that we get product for free every month, something along those lines. And that's an auto ship day. Let me just think of where else. The 8th and the 9th, I have an event. So I'm going to be posting about the event on Saturday and talking a lot about community and that sort of thing. It's a new month. I'm just trying to think creatively. So let's kind of talk through stories, maybe. I actually did a Zoom yesterday for like Chastity had asked me to do it and Paul was on and it was so funny. So it was me, Chastity's little group at her house, and then Paul, the CEO, and he had like had some phone issues, so I started doing my thing, and then he like jumped back in and he like completely cut me off, but it was funny. But he brought up some really good points that I kind of touched on too, is that it's all about numbers. It's a numbers game, and not that I want to like make people as numbers, but if you're wanting to move fast, you have to increase your volume, obviously, of the people you're talking to on a daily basis, the people you're connecting to. Not to like put a number on people, but for us, I think, because I'm really wanting to scale back and go back to simple, like when we were reviewing goals this month, I wanted to get back as to simple as possible, because I feel like there's so many Zooms, so many different ideas, so many different things with like social media, so many different things that it gets complicated, and then people get lost in the weeds and they're focusing on things that aren't actually going to generate them business, which is why we're all here, is to get paid, and we get paid two ways: customers, promoters. That is it. We don't get paid on how many times we post on social media. We don't get paid on how many times we interact with people. We get paid by the amount of customers we sign and the number of promoters and everything below that. So it's important when we're creating content that it is efficient, that we are not spending a ton of time like just focusing on how am I going to make the prettiest picture or the best content or whatever. Like, yes, it's important to create community, but we need to be super efficient with the things that we're doing. So our goals should be, what kind of posts can I make that are going to connect with people? What kind of posts can I make that share my Thrive story? What kind of posts can I make that get samples into people's hands? So your Thrive story is obviously twofold. That's your product story and your business story, and sharing that on a consistent basis. And I think that's kind of something that we've all, including myself, had gotten away from. We're focusing so much on like the niching of things that we have lost sharing our story. So for me, I know I've been trying to implement like, how can I share my story on a consistent basis that's in alignment with my niche, but it's not just about that. So like for me, my niche has been, I'm going to pull up my official like tagline on my Instagram. Helping other 30-something mothers navigate health and motherhood from a biblical perspective. So if I am like biblical perspective is like the main undertone in mothers of that whole thing. So all the things that I'm posting should relate to that, even when I'm talking about the business, even when I'm talking about the products. So yesterday I had made a post talking about the business piece when I was speaking for all those people. And I said, like, how great is our God that he guides our steps? Like, I just started with wanting to feel better and it led to this. So I kind of share my Thrive experience and I share the business aspect of it too. But how everything you post about with products should have a relation to whatever the person that you're trying to reach. So I think of Heather, for example, and it's single moms. Anytime you talk about the products, and your story, it should have that undertone to it. So if you're talking about motherhood in general, if you're talking about capsules, how can you bring it back to, this is how it gets me through my single motherhood? Because if you're adding people and connecting to people that are single moms, every single piece of your content should relate to that. Because I shared this yesterday, as much as we like post pictures of ourselves and post like pictures of our families and things like that, our social media is not for us. It is for us to connect to other people. And so every time I try to create a post, I think, am I making this because I want to, or am I making this so that it can connect or reach somebody else? So if I'm reading my post, does it sound like I'm just bragging about myself? Does it sound like I'm just talking about myself? Or is there a door to open up that will connect to other people? So I talked about earning the retreat yesterday. I'll just give you an example. And
like
the
I know
first
today
line was like, have you ever wanted to travel but didn't see how it was a possibility for your life? Then I went into my story a little bit. And then at the end of the tagline, I gave a call to action. Like, if this is something that you want for your life, let's go see places together. So it gives them a call to action at the end. The other one was kind of about me, I'll be honest. It painted the pictures of possibility, but it was kind of about me. So how can we make our posts that tell our story, but also connect with other people? So I did another one the other day that was like, the reason I talk, it's not about me. The reason I talk about how great I feel every day is because it's for the mom that needs hope, or whatever. So I think of both of you. I mean, you're both moms. So how can we use your platform to connect to other people, but you've got to be consistently sharing your Thrive experience on a consistent basis. I was talking about how the Thrive versus your connection post, Thrive post versus connection post, if you're too heavily weighed on one side, that's where you lose the balance of your business. So if you're too heavily weighted on just sharing about Thrive all the time, you're going to lose the connection piece that we need to build trust. But if you're only posting about your connection stuff, then you're not opening the door for people to know that you have something to offer them to solve their problem. So it's got to be this balance that you have where it's like 50-50. So you can create all like these posts and stuff like that that are going to be connecting to people. Like, I love your, single parent tip Tuesday and stuff like that. But then it needs to also balance with, this is how it's helped me as a single mom. This is how it is helping me day to day as a single mom. And this is how it will help you also. So we need to make sure that we're weighting those evenly and not just being like tipped to one side or the other. So finding that nice balance. And that goes for your stories too. So when you're posting in your stories, yeah, it's important for us to show that we're taking the products on a daily basis, but we also need to make sure that we are consistently highlighting the fact that we have a life that can connect to other people too. So if you're only posting your 3 steps in your story and you're not showing anything else, you're missing the mark, because there's people that are just watching your stories all the time. And so it's posting things that are related to your niche. So if it's about parenthood, like funny memes about parenthood that you find, or silly things that your kids are doing, or maybe it's like a quick tip for parenting, or just dumb things. Like the other day I was talking about how Minnesota's stupid and we have 2 summers, I swear. And I don't want to turn on my AC, but like, it's things that people relate to and are able to connect with. If you only have Thrive stuff in your story, you're not giving the opportunity for people to interact with your stuff. And I've talked to that at exhaustion, so I won't address that too much. So let's just go day by day real quick for the next 15 minutes and I'll give you kind of like ideas of things that you can post that are both related to connection and Thrive. So Mondays, people are tired. It's a new week. I always try to emphasize the capsules on those days. Maybe it's my own selfish reasons, because that's what brought me into the business, was Stephanie posting about, if you hate Mondays, we should have a chat. And I was like, yep, worst Monday ever. Let's have a conversation. So that's probably why I talked about it, because it relates to me, and that's how I was brought into this business. But the reality is, people are getting their kids back to school in the morning. It's always chaotic. It doesn't matter how many times you've gotten your kids ready in the morning on a Monday. It's always a struggle. It doesn't matter. So if you're a mom, like, press into that, because I think that's so true. Talking about that, maybe you're posting at like 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning, something that's either inspirational, that's going to get them like motivated for their week, or it's something that relates to the product early in the morning. If you're going to be talking about, maybe it's a picture of you with the capsules, maybe it's a picture of the capsules as your kids are heading out the door, maybe it's just anything, like a picture of you, how you prepare your mornings, like whatever that looks like, something that's going to relate to the fact that people are exhausted and hate Mondays, because it's true. Tuesday, we obviously get paid. Now, I had, of course, discussed previously, I don't know if I caught it on the recording because I was late to hitting record, but people typically got paid yesterday. So a payday post might not hit as hard this Tuesday, because people probably still have money in their bank account, and it might not resonate as well. So what is a different aspect of the business that you can talk about on Tuesday? Maybe it's the community. Maybe it's that you don't have to budget out week to week, that because you can get a paycheck every week. If you're not getting a paycheck that is consistent, you need to talk about what the company offers as a whole to paint a vision for somebody else. We cannot shortchange other people's opportunity based on where we're currently at, because if you do that, you will never grow. I think of Amber Manquist and Chastity as a perfect example. Like, Amber was just like starting to climb in her business a little bit, and Chastity was earning six figures with a like corporate job. If she hadn't addressed like just talking about the products, or had changed her as far as the business opportunity, because she thought maybe, oh, I'm not that far, oh, you already are successful with your job, like this whole organization would not be here if she hadn't done that. So making sure that you're bringing in other aspects. If you're not where you're at, that doesn't mean you can't talk about the possibility of where you're going, or what the company as a whole has to offer. Like 1,200 in the first 2 weeks. Talk about how Christmas is right around the corner. Like, how stressful is Christmas for a single mom, right, Heather? Like, I mean, I remember when I was a single mom with my son, like, it was stressful. I was like, how am I gonna, guess we're going to the dollar store like to find stuff, because I was the only income that was providing for him. And I remember thinking, gosh, I'm a failure. Like, appeal to that. Like, you could have money by Christmas to be able to put gifts under the tree and have a good Christmas for your family. Not that that's what it's all about, but that's heavy on people's minds. So talking about that, even though it's only October, it'll be here before we know it, really. Talking about how we get our products for free every month, because the 2nd is today. So you can get products for free every month. So feeling good for free every single month. So many different aspects of the company as a whole. Community, training capabilities, the fact that we don't have to pay for a business, like we don't have to pay anything to run it. We don't have monthly fees or annual fees or website fees or any of those things. Those are all things that you can touch on as far as the business goes. Wednesday, it's hump day. So it's the middle of the week. I call it second Monday because you're like not quite to the end and you're like smack dab in the middle. So I'm trying to pull up the themes. Show maybe for your niche thing, you can show people how to do something. You can re-inspire them midweek. Thursday, share or tell. So like telling your story on a Thursday. I like to do social media audits on a Thursday too, to kind of just see like, is my stuff resonating with people? If I'm not getting a ton of engagement, do I need to increase the amount of people that I am connecting with? If I'm expecting love on my stuff, am I giving enough first? Am I serving first? Showing interest in other people first? That's kind of something that I like to do on Thursdays, is just take a pulse check of my social media and see like, are there views on my story? Are there interactions on my stories? Are there interactions on my posts? What kind of stuff am I getting more interactions on that I can do more of? And it just allows me to see like, am I actually building enough relationships with people? Friday, I know I have an event, because there's an event Friday and Saturday, so I'll be talking about those two things. Fridays, I like to talk about samples, because I talk about how I pack them up on the weekend. So if you can talk about samples, whether that's a quick post in the mid-afternoon, seems to be a good time, that just says like, if I sent you a Thrive, or if I sent you a happy pack filled with energy and mood support, would you take it correctly and give me your honest feedback? And then your upline can help you with creating like how that conversation would go on Messenger if you get people interested. Or you can do something like packing up happy packs, or fall happy packs, mood support packs, like whatever you want to do. Drop a heart if you want to get one this weekend. So that's something I always try to do, is samples on Friday and ways to inspire people, because it's the end of the week. Fridays are tough because you're looking forward to the weekend. It's not quite here yet. Saturdays is I try to entertain as much as possible on Saturdays, because not a lot of people are super checked into their phones. I mean, today in my state currently, where the majority of my people are from on my timeline, it's kind of gloomy. So maybe people will be on their phone, and I can do some like stuff that's going to like benefit them as far as information. I can educate them or something like that. Sundays, I personally utilize as a day for me to disconnect. Now you can do that. For me, it comes from a faith-based thing where I think it's important for us, especially if you're working a job and you have this business, it's important for you to disconnect. It's important for you to take that pause, because you can get so consumed with your phone that it loses its fun. You know what I mean? It just becomes something that is tedious and exhausting, and it loses its fun. I've noticed when I've taken that pause, that I feel refreshed when I come back on a Monday. That's just me. So on Sundays, I maybe will make one post, maybe show up in my stories a few times, but you can make a story and saying disconnecting for 24 hours. You want your people to know that you're there, but that you also are taking a step back, because that's totally fine to do that. If we are constantly in a state of hustle, 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 it's hard for us to talk about the freedom of the business if we always feel like we're tied to our phone, right? And it's hard for us to talk about anybody can do this when you feel like you're exhausting yourself. So that's why it's so important for me. And that's why I emphasize this for my team, that we take a day to just disconnect from everything. This allows you to connect with your family. This allows you to get things done that you need to get done, maybe around the house. This allows you to just rest and trust in your compounding efforts that you're doing every single day, that even if you take a day off, like everything isn't going to fall apart, because I can tell you it won't. So that's kind of what the day-to-day looks like. What else do I want to talk about? Something I do that helps me prepare for the week is I will take some time and just brain dump, usually on a Saturday or a Sunday, and I will just brain dump ideas for the week. I will maybe get myself looking a little bit better than a drowned rat, like I am today, and take a couple pictures outside. Like, thank goodness I did that the week before, because like my daughter has been sick this whole week, and there was no time for me to like even barely get myself ready most days. And so I had all those things on deck that I could share on a consistent basis without having to be like, shoot, what kind of picture am I going to post? I already had a bunch of them that were prepared from before. So if you can do that, you can do your stories that way. I know Heather and I discussed that. Like, you can do your stories that way. If you're finding it's hard for you to consistently show up in your stories because you're like, oh, I forget, or I just don't have anything prepared. And then I end up running out the door and I'm like, shoot, I forgot to post about my capsules or whatever. Just taking a bunch of story pictures, like via Instagram or Facebook, just a bunch of story pictures and saving them to your camera roll of like capsules over here and capsules over there, and capsules opened and just in your hand, and a shaker cup. There doesn't even need to be anything in it with the shake mix. A picture of a patch, a picture of you holding a patch, a picture of all 3 steps together, just a bunch of them at once, so that if you ever run into those scenarios where you're busy or unexpected things come up, or your kids are crazy, or your job called you on unexpectedly, or whatever it might be, you still are prepared with things that you can share, content that you can share. And then I also kind of try to write down ideas of things that I can post that are related to connection. So how can I inspire people tomorrow? How can I educate people on something? How can I take 5 to 10 minutes to watch a couple reels and save some sounds and get some ideas? So just taking that time to prepare, because I will forever and ever say this, and it is, we have a business. If you're wanting to get paid like you have a business, stop treating it like a hobby. Do you think that Target or Kohl's or Walmart or whatever big conglomerate you can name, do you think that they just, like, the day that their marketing needs to go out, they just come up with it? No. So if you're wanting to have a business that pays you like a business and not a hobby, you need to start treating it like market research, which means connecting with people within your social media. Who are you marketing to? How does your message sound? Like, you got to think of those things. So anytime before I post, or I try to do this as much as possible, I think of the other person that's reading this on the other side. Like, is this going to make sense? Is this going to educate them? Is this going to inspire them? Is this relating to them in any sort of way? Or am I just spewing about myself because I need to get a post up? And is that going to connect with people? Like, taking that time to just assess really quick before you post, is this something that people is going to grab their attention quickly and that they're going to relate to? So yeah, that is all I'm going to have for today. Just 30 minutes, super fast. Anything else you guys need from me? Questions, comments?
Thank you for doing the Zoom for us elite group of people.
You 3. Whether it's 3 or 3,000, I hope that it's valuable. And I recorded it so other people can listen.